The glass tipped. Golden juice spilled across the table. But Amara's heart pounded, not from clumsiness, but from the truth only she had seen. A tiny vial, a drop too dangerous to ignore. And the hand that poured it? Her father's fiancé. What happens when the person you trust most turns out to be the one holding the knife? Or in this case, the poison. This is the chilling story of a little girl who saved her father from betrayal masked as love. Welcome, story lovers! From where are you watching? Drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was one of those evenings when the mansion seemed alive with silence. The polished marble floors glistened under the chandelier's glow, the air faint with the sweetness of mangoes, his favorite fruit, always stocked by the kitchen staff. The billionaire, Richard Hale, had built this home not just with wealth, but with years of ambition, hard work, and battles that had left scars no one could see. To the world he was untouchable, a man who had it all. Yet within the walls of this mansion, his life revolved around a quiet heartbeat, his 10-year-old daughter, Amara. Amara was the joy of his world, her laughter bright enough to fill even the darkest corners of his days. Born from a painful past, she carried her mother's dark skin and radiant eyes, features that often drew whispered judgments from outsiders who could not accept that she was the billionaire's heir. But to Richard, she was everything. Her presence kept him grounded in a world where appearances were currency. That evening carried no sign of trouble. Richard had just returned from a meeting, still in his suit, sipping water while Amara colored in the living room. Upstairs, his fiancée prepared for dinner. A woman who had, until now, seemed like the perfect addition to his carefully curated life. Grace, with her polished charm and flawless smile, had convinced everyone she belonged. But beneath that charm, shadows stirred. Whispers of greed, jealousy, and something colder lived in her heart. Richard didn't notice. Not yet, but Amara did. She was sharper than her years, attuned to the subtle things adults often missed. And tonight, her eyes would catch something that would change everything. The evening unfolded as usual. The staff moved quietly, setting the table, arranging dishes as if everything was just another night in paradise. Richard sat back in his chair, scrolling through his tablet, unaware of the storm building just a few steps away. Grace descended the staircase with elegance, her white dress flowing like perfection itself. Her smile was radiant, yet it didn't reach her eyes. On the counter sat a tray with freshly prepared mango juice, Richard's favorite indulgence after long days. Amara had seen her father's joy in that simple glass countless times, and she often ran to fetch it for him. But this time, something about the way Grace lingered over the tray made Amara freeze. She had followed quietly into the kitchen earlier, her small steps unnoticed. From behind the doorway she saw it. Grace's hand slipped into her clutch, fingers curling around a tiny vial. The liquid was clear, almost invisible as it mixed into the golden juice. Amara's heart skipped. She knew this wasn't normal. Her mind, innocent yet alert, whispered danger. The glass was carried to the dining table with care, set before Richard like an offering. Grace's voice floated with sweetness as she called him to drink. But Amara's body reacted before her mind fully processed the truth. She darted forward, her little hands knocking against the glass just as her father reached for it. Juice spilled across the table, spreading like liquid sunlight. The sudden act startled everyone. Grace's face twisted for a fraction of a second. Shock, then fury, before settling back into feigned concern. "She's clumsy," she said softly, masking the venom in her tone. But Richard's eyes turned to his daughter. Amara's breath came heavy, her small hands trembling. She didn't have the words yet, but her wide, fearful eyes said more than any explanation. Something was wrong. He felt it, and in that instant, the mansion's peace fractured. Beneath the golden lights, a silent battle had begun, between innocence and betrayal, between truth and deception. Richard stared at the spilled juice, his instincts stirring uneasily. Amara's trembling body clung to his sleeve, as if holding back a storm too big for her small frame. Grace leaned forward, her voice silky, urging him to dismiss it. "She's tired. Children make mistakes. But Amara shook her head furiously, eyes locked on the fiancé. For the first time, Richard noticed it, the flash of something dark behind Grace's perfect smile. His mind replayed her eagerness for him to drink, her insistence, her sudden tension when Amara intervened. Suspicion turned to certainty. He rose abruptly, startling the room. "Bring me another glass," he ordered. This time his voice carried steel. The staff hesitated, unsure, but obeyed. 2 glasses of juice appeared, one untouched, one poured from the same jug. Richard's gaze never left Grace. Slowly, deliberately, he extended the tainted glass toward her. Her hand faltered. The mask cracked. Panic flickered across her flawless features. Then came her refusal, too quick, too sharp. The room chilled. Richard's world shifted. The woman he planned to marry had tried to end his life right under his roof, in front of his daughter. The betrayal stung deeper than any business rivalry or public attack. This wasn't about wealth. It was about survival, and about his daughter's courage saving him from a death he never saw coming. Grace backed away, cornered by the weight of silence. Amara pressed close to her father, her small voice whispering, "Daddy, don't." The truth was undeniable now. His fiancée had been exposed, not by his fortune or fame, but by the watchful eyes of a child who refused to stay silent. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. The confrontation ended not with shouting, but with silence, the kind that carries finality. Grace's belongings were packed swiftly, her presence erased from the mansion as though she had never existed. The staff whispered, shaken by the betrayal they had witnessed. And Richard, though outwardly composed, carried a wound that wealth could not heal. He held Amara close that night, her bravery etched into his memory. She had seen what he hadn't, dared to act when danger lingered inches away. In her, he saw the strength of generations who had endured prejudice and injustice, yet refused to be silenced. She wasn't just his daughter, she was the reason he was alive. The story rippled beyond their home. Richard's trust in appearances shattered. He realized how easily deception wears a mask of beauty, and more painfully how the quiet, watchful voice of a child is often more truthful than the loud confidence of adults. Amara's act became more than saving her father. It became a reminder of vigilance, of courage, and of the hidden dangers lurking even in places meant to feel safe. The world often underestimates children, just as it underestimates those whose skin color doesn't fit society's narrow ideals. But that night, it was a young black girl who saved a billionaire, proving that courage is not bound by age, power, or race. And as Richard looked into her eyes, he understood. Sometimes the greatest wealth a man can possess is not found in bank accounts or mansions, but in the fearless love of a child. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.